Hi, Zach. Thank you for joining me for this online interview. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Zack Cleghorn. I work for Pitt County Development Commission as their business retention and expansion specialist. I'm originally from Texas.
Thank you. How many years do you live in Greenville?
I moved here, the summer of 2013. So coming up on 7 years now.
Why you moved to Greenville? How it happened?
Uh, well, I moved here. I had a friend of mine that let me come down here and sleep on his couch. And Greenville's very special to me because it's the first time in my life I've ever had a place to call home. And Greenville is also special because of the people. There's so many people here that helped me along my journey.
Can you tell more about, I know that you have very, very inspirational story, and I read about you and I saw many videos about you. Can you share this story with our viewers?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in poverty. My mom was an addict, and she didn't really care about if we were educated, if we ate, or if we were abused. And I struggled with a lot of neglect from my family. At the time, I had no idea why were things the way they were. But I always had an older brother who looked out for me and took care of me. And at 17, I had a chance to get away. So I had a chance and I took it, and I went off to MCRD San Diego and became a United States Marine. I wasn't even 18 yet, and I could call myself a Marine. I served in Operation Enduring Freedom. I got out of the Marines in 2012, and I struggled a lot. I left the service with a traumatic brain injury, and I suffered from some pretty extreme forms of PTSD and anxiety. And I struggled and struggled, and on my 25th birthday, I put a loaded gun to my head, and I was ready to do it. I was ready to quit. I was ready to give up on life. I felt like everybody had given up on me, and I was just tired, and I was ready to do it. And it got to a point to pulling the trigger, and I couldn't do it. And afterwards I called my buddy. His name is Brandon. He lives here and still lives here. I was in Charlotte at the time, and I told him, and he told me to get my ass down here, and he wired me $20. And I joke with everybody because when I first moved here, I had a trash bag of clothes, a backpack, and a broken lamp. When I came here, I was nervous, I was scared, I didn't fit in, I couldn't communicate, I really had problems socializing with people, and I typically just kept to myself. He told me, he said, you need to go to school, and I was scared. Most of my life when I was in early school, I was in developmental classes, and I was frankly told I was too dumb to ever go to college. But I took a leap of faith, and I started at the community college and worked my way to ECU. And that became my mission. That became my purpose. You see, I had to get through it because I had no other options. I had no safety nets, no family. I had nobody to lean on except myself. In 2016, I graduated with a bachelor's of science in industrial engineering technology. And it was great. It was incredible. I was the first person to ever go to college and graduate. Shortly after that, I started working for Pitt Community College, helping shape Pitt County's workforce development programs. And I really found my purpose in helping others that were less fortunate to me, or less fortunate than me. I was able to help them, get them into jobs, not just jobs, but find gainful employment for them so they could help take care of their families. And that was incredible to me because I had a chance to give back and to people that were going through situations that I was going through. And, you know, shortly after I went back to ECU, I got my master's in technology management, and now I'm working on my doctorate.
Wow, congratulations. Wow.
I don't know. I forget about those things sometimes, I guess.
Why you picked this major first? Like, why industrial engineering?
Really, I started college and I wanted to be a nurse like my buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out real quick I didn't like people like that. So I when I transferred to ECU, I just, that's the major I went with, and I was always mechanically inclined, and I was really, really good at figuring things out, and I've always been. Um, and I mean, really, that's the direction I went. I started working in manufacturing plants, working full
Mm-hmm.
time. I was going through college, various different fields. I worked for the East Group here under Tony Corey. That was cool. That was an awesome experience. And you know, that's what I say about people. I mean, there's so many people here in the city. I mean, he's one of them that helped push me and help
Mm-hmm.
guide me along my path. And that was, I mean, that's just, it's incredible.
And now you're one of them too, because you're helping others. To ask you how you learned to talk about this story, because I mean, it's difficult to talk about those things, right? For some people, it's difficult to overcome those things, and it's even more difficult to talk about it. How you learned to do it?
Well, I don't really think I ever learned. It was kind of a crash course. You know, there's so many veterans out there that are in the same situations I were, or same situations I was in, and you know, they don't know how to communicate it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand the things they're experiencing when they come back home and they get out of the service. They don't. And there's the support system. It's gotten better, but it's not. It's not what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And really, to be honest with you, the reason I joined the Marines was because I believe we were put here on this earth to help others that were less fortunate from you. And to me, I was the less fortunate, and I just, all I wanted to do my whole life was help others and give and give and give. And, you know, I share my story and personal things with people because you never know what somebody's going through. And, you know, maybe hearing these things can stop someone from jumping off that ledge, pulling that trigger, and, you know, essentially ending their full potential before it even started. I mean, if you would have told me years ago, I would be working on my doctorate, I would have a house, I would have friends, I would have really everything I've worked for, I never thought I could achieve. And if I would have quit and I would have gave up on myself, I wouldn't be here. And, you know, I think a lot of times, you know, everybody loves the sun, right? But nothing grows unless there's a little rain. And I think sometimes we all go through storms in our life. And sometimes, you know, life's not perfect. We get dealt bad hands, but we still have to play the game. And I really think that's, you know, when I say I was put here on earth, or we were put here on this earth to help people, I believe that sharing the hard times that I'm going through, that I went through, and I still go through. I mean, I still, you know, to me, I don't feel special. I don't feel unique. I just feel like a guy that wanted a better life, and I went out and I'm trying to live one. I'm not perfect. I still struggle with PTSD, anxiety, and you could ask some of my closest friends. Sometimes I'm a pain to be a friend with, but they know overall I'm a good person and I've overcome so much.
How COVID-19 pandemic affected your life?
Well, to me, I just started a new job here at Pitt County Development Commission at the very beginning of this. So it's been a little awkward to start a job and working from home. but I'm very fortunate enough to be able to work from home, unlike so many other people that have been laid off or furloughed. Really, there's not one person that hasn't been impacted by COVID-19. For me, when they closed the doors and shut down essential businesses, I work out here at CrossFit Greenville, and that has been an outlet. It has been so beneficial for me to be around people that motivate me and inspire me to be essentially a better person. And it was my coping mechanism for PTSD and depression. And honestly, that's been the hardest thing, is not being able to go there. But my Matt, the owner there, he's gotten really innovative, and he started doing workout sessions via Zoom. We're still talking with people, we're still connected, and that has really been more beneficial than I really talk about, because one thing I hate is, and this is really difficult for me to say, is I hate being alone. And I'm usually go, doing this, doing that, traveling, going to do this. And it's honestly because when I sit idle, my mind starts to go down places I don't want it to go. And, that's really what has been the biggest challenge for me, is as an extrovert to be essentially at my house, 80% of the time.
You mentioned Greenville CrossFit. When you joined this community, when you decided to start your workouts?
So it's kind of funny, I fluctuated over the years. I was in college, and it was a little bit difficult for me to, stay with it, because I was just so focused on school, and I wasn't focused about my physical health. And I started in 2013, and then, I was going periodically. I wasn't as consistent, and, I was focused so much on school that I let everything go deteriorate. I got up to the point where I was like 334 pounds, right? I was a big old boy. And, and anyway, in September, I started back, and I probably started going twice a day as soon as I started. Sometimes 3 times a day. I would just go there, and I would go there just to be around people, but I'd also go there to just work out my frustrations. And since I started in September, I've learned more about nutrition. I've learned more about physical fitness. And I weighed myself today, and I've gone literally from 334 pounds to 252 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's crazy. I think it's crazy when you surround yourself with people that want you to do better, you feel better. And that's been the greatest community to me ever. I could have never believed in my wildest dreams. And I talk about, back in the day, I wouldn't never believe that I would have friends that I have now. And that community is really, that's what started my friendships.
What do you want to say to our viewers today? What message you want to send them through this video?
It's okay to fail. Every failure, every adversity, every time we face unmovable obstacles, it carries an equivalent of something that can be even greater. Every day we wake up, we have a chance to reinvent ourselves, mend broken relationships, start new ones, take bold actions, take risk. Sometimes we think just because we climb the mountain doesn't mean there's not valleys along the way. And it's difficult, and it's okay to say, I still struggle with these things, but as long as you're working on yourself, you can't stop. It's just, you have to keep going. We as humans have something that no other species on this planet has. And we're able to internalize this. And this thing is called hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. Look at what we're currently going through. Yes, COVID-19 has showed us the bad in people, but it has shown us so much good. During this, we had a shortage of masks. I've literally seen companies here in Greenville take their stock of safety masks and go donate it to a hospital. I've seen people making masks and donating it to nursing homes. Hell, I've seen people standing on the side of the road wanting to pay for gas for nurses and doctors. I just heard something on the news the other day about somebody had dropped off pizzas at a fire station just to give it to them. You know, I think so many people are reflecting on their lives right now. I think they're finding out what really matters and acknowledging the things that they once took for granted. You know, I think that this will all pass. And I firmly believe that we're going to come out even stronger because of it.